Paltrocast.
Can I cut in and start with a compliment for both of you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So a lot of times you talk to people who score television and you go, I really like your show, and that's where it starts. But for both of you, I loved both of your major label bands. So it's
Hey,
fantastic
thank
to see
you. I love that compliment.
that
Thank you.
both of you have the most music listenership you've ever had in your career, yet the most anonymous nature to what you're doing. In other words,
I know, and yet the probably weirdest, most experimental stuff either of us have ever done, which is kind of saying something.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows I tried in the 90s to get a lot of listenership for doing, hard, not the easiest listening. And this, we just got asked to do it. We just got invited, and they even paid us, and now everybody seems to be really psyched.
Right, because they didn't really pay us when we did the bands either.
No, we spent quite a bit of money.
Debatable
Yeah,
what
yeah.
an advance is. Advance is basically a bad mortgage or a bad bank loan. So
Totally.
And yet, like, I do not begrudge major labels the whole system. It's like, what are you going to do? 99.9% of the artists you sign are not going to make any money, but it costs so much money to put out a record, promote a record, go on tour, therapy, all of it, drugs, counseling.
We didn't. You and I didn't need drug counseling.
No, we were
Others did.
Adjacent.
We were
Yeah.
very adjacent. We still had to pay the bill.
Yeah.
And here you are all these years later. And Anna, I'm curious from your perspective, how did you connect with Craig? Because I don't think That Dog and Shudder to Think toured together.
No, we didn't. It's funny because we were probably in the same room like a million times and just didn't know each other. And we probably played, I think we played the same festivals.
Yeah.
But we never played a show together. Our paths never crossed. And we didn't meet until one of my best friends from high school, who's still one of my best friends, met him at preschool.
Yes.
Because their sons were at preschool together.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole time she kept saying, you've got to meet my friend Craig. You're really going to love him. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to meet your friend Craig. I was being a brat. Like, oh, you're
Anna still says that every time she has to come over to work.
No, oh my God. Now I'm like, oh, thank God I'm going there. It is a relief when I'm over there. And then we finally met at a birthday party for a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And we started talking, and it was just like immediate, so much in common, so many parallel stories,
the same sort of like band PTSD.
God, yes.
The love loathe of that.
Yes, exactly.
That chapter of both of our lives.
And also like really enthusiastic parents. And then our kids went to the same elementary school. And so we saw each other all the time. And
we even got paired together as buddy families because
we did.
Because Anna and Steve's son is a little younger than Megan's and my son, and we were already at the school, and they assigned you buddies, and so they must have figured rock and roll buddies, and so we were MTV Buzzbin buddies.
Yeah, we were.
Buzz Clip. I think
Buzz Clip buddies.
Buzz Clip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
I remember, this has nothing to do with either of you, but a friend of mine who was on Elektra Records, the way that they became a Buzz Clip was Elektra negotiated a Metallica concert special for their new album, and part of that exchange was 1 or 2 Buzz Clips from
that's how the song X French T-shirt became a Buzz Clip, or whatever it was in return for some sort of Michael Jackson exclusive, because MJ and Shudder to Think were both we were label mates.
I mean, David Wayne was a fan of both of them, so
yeah, that's true.
They're both from Shaker Heights, but anyway, Craig, that's your recollection of how you and Anna connected?
The
friends thing.
I don't want to embarrass Anna. She was in a blackout era. So for the record,
it's hard having a little kid.
I know. We'll just stick with that story. No, that was exactly what happened.
That's fair. So one thing that I'm super curious about in terms of your composing, because both of you are known for your lyrics and your music. A lot of people, they're just the top line person, or you learn they're just the vibes person in the room that's fostering the good vibes, and they don't actually sing, play an instrument, right? And some of the top songwriters in the game are that, but both of you, from what I understand, are top line people.
Yes,
So,
we're both
We're
former
all of it.
lead singers, and you know, therefore extremely difficult when it comes to top lines and good lyrics. But it turns out that for
I
the
wouldn't say
most part,
difficult. I would say particular.
let's say exacting in our pursuit of excellence.
yeah.
You know, when you know you're good, you're good. You got to live up to it.
That's right.
So what is it that you both bring to the table? Like, is one of you more the orchestrator?
Sometimes it depends, but a lot of the time, I would say our main dynamic is kind of like, it's like the two of us have this very amazing brain connection. Like if he is about to play something, a lot of the time I'm thinking it or about to say, hey, what about? And we have a lot of that, which is really fun. Like at one point I even made it a game, like, is he gonna do this? And then he would.
But we
in my head.
we only use C chords, so it's not that remarkable. It's like,
Only-
oh, he's
it's
gonna
pretty
play a
remarkable.
C, he's gonna do it.
Like majors and minors, or just C
Yeah.
triads?
All variations of C. So I mean, within that, there's a little bit of.
So we've got different dynamics. But I mean, one of the dynamics that I really love is when he's kind of like the mad wizard and I am holding the fort down a little bit, like letting him spin and grabbing all, you know, kind of making sense out of a lot of it. I think that dynamic gives him the freedom to just outpour and gives me the joy of organizing the good thoughts. Like, I think that's one, I love that, and he loves to just spin. So that's one of my favorite dynamics that we have. And I would say when we're together, that's what we do the most.
Yeah. I think it plays sort of both of our kind of, I don't know, strengths, default modes, sort of what we both naturally do. Anna likes to zoom out, and she has a very organized brain and sort of sees the whole puzzle. And I tend to like to generate. So it works really nicely, but we very easily swap.
But then we switch that, and we pass. It just depends on how we're working. Like sometimes, you know, when I'm working in my space, we'll pass sessions back and forth, or, you know, and then there's the off time where like one of us will just write something, and then that is what it is. We usually collaborate on some level on everything, and
I mean, for sure, everything has to pass muster with both of us.
Yes.
And sometimes there's a little bit of lobbying, campaigning, and canvassing for an idea, which will then
not a lot though.
No, not a lot, but every once in a while.
Not a lot.
And it'll usually then sort of get reworked by both of us. So it's something that starts with one of us usually gets reworked by both of us.
Yes.
Sometimes you find that composers who made the transition from band into the composer world love the idea that it becomes like a 9 to 5-ish thing. Of course, urgent deadlines come up. Is that the case where you treat it daytime hours and day job kind of things for composing for Yellowjackets?
Not with Yellowjackets. Yellowjackets is much more like have you watched
down the patches?
Yeah. Have you watched The Bear?
Yes.
It's more like that.
It's a lot like that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this season yet.
Our dynamic, I would say, is more overtly, it's more like West Coast. It's not really so Midwestern and gnarly and non emotional. Our sessions tend to be the half therapy, half composing version of The Bear.
Say cousin a lot.
And we say cousin, we say chef. We say, oh, you haven't watched season 2.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm covering
there's a lot
but we should definitely call each other chef. I don't know what our problem is.
Well, I think it's fascinating also that, you two are pop culture oriented people. You know, going back to the That Dog lyrics, you referenced cool things in the music there. Craig, endless TV and film things that you've done before this, you know, going back to The State, that's where I think I first heard your stuff. And then Baby is nothing like The State. So what I'm getting at is it's really hard to pigeonhole what it is that both of you do. So what I'm trying to figure out is, was there a particular project that they went, hey, Craig and Anna are the people for this particular show?
For Yellowjackets, you mean, or
Yeah.
in general?
For Yellowjackets.
For Yellowjackets, as with most of the projects actually you just mentioned, and most wonderful projects, it came through long-standing relationships. Our friend Karin Kusama, wonderful director and dear friend, and also parent at the school that we went to, although we were friends from way back before in New York in the State days, that she was executive producing and directing the pilot for Yellowjackets, and used her composer that she almost always collaborates with, Theodore Shapiro.
Oh, small world.
Very small world.
Yes.
With whom I composed the music and songs for Wet Hot American Summer, and we've worked on a bunch of stuff ever since, and he too is a dear friend. So when the pilot got picked up, Teddy was busy doing other things, and I seemed like a natural call. Anna and I had just finished working on a couple shows together, and we were looking for something darker, meatier, weirder, and more experimental. And when Karin called me and described the show, or sent the script, or sent a link to the pilot, it was very immediately clear that it you know, Anna and I had manifested it as our next project.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's really true.
So it was great. Very, very all in the family, very much a continuation of these strange kinds of 21st century collaborations that you have with people, where Anna and I are working in the old-fashioned way in the same room. But here I am again, or here we are again, working with Teddy and Karin, but via remote, maybe a couple of years apart, but it's still one meal that we're making to bring it all back to the bear.
Long-standing, yeah. Well, Anna, one thing I couldn't figure out was, what was your transition from being a band person? And I'm aware of your solo records. I remember the one, Naked, that you did for Olio Entertainment. I believe I have that correct. But what was your transition from recording artist to the scoring world?
Well, right after I left, or That Dog ended in the 90s, one of the first things that I did was I got a call to score a TV show. And it's something I'd always thought about doing, but didn't have time. I, was in the band and everything. And so I immediately was like, oh my God, that would be so great. They were like, we want you to write songs for it, do the theme song. And they had a That Dog song featured in it. And it was a whole kind of thing. And I didn't know how to use Pro Tools yet. And I had never done it before. And it was like moving to another country and just like jumping in. But I loved it. It was exhausting, but I didn't care. Because the band life, it was always like I never felt like at home in it. And with this, well, I did feel at home because I was at home, but it was a different feeling of, I don't like it all to be about me. I like to collaborate with people when there's a goal. It doesn't hurt to get paid for hard work, like for real. Yeah. And so I just did a crash course in scoring this TV show, and it didn't get picked up after the first run. And I started kind of dabbling in it, in composing. And then I would kind of just ricochet between songwriting and doing stuff for film and TV, sometimes doing my own artist stuff, and then scoring. And I didn't really decide to make it my main focus until probably like, I don't know, 7 years ago, five or 7 years ago, where I was like, none of the other stuff, like just that. And I'm really glad I did.
Anna,
Fantastic. That's the common story I'm hearing. When I was talking to weird name drop, but Ian from Passion Pit, who's now scoring The Walking Dead, Dead City. That
Yeah.
sounds exactly like his journey, where you kind of went, the touring life, I don't know if it's for me. I'll score any short film. And then you do enough of those things. And then before you know it, you're doing the legitimate shows like Yellowjackets.
I mean, I wish it was that easy, but.
Serious question, like real question on the record.
Yes.
I'm holding you to it. When are you going to make another record? Anna Waronker
I
or
have no
a dog
idea.
record?
What? An Anna
Like,
Waronker record?
and either Anna Waronker or that dog or whatever you want to call it.
I can't get into that dog land because of
Personalities.
Exactly. It's just it's not even an option. Unfortunately, I don't know if I want to anyway, because I feel like my plate is so full. I don't have any songs in me right now.
Our friend Isaac,
which is weird.
Our friend Isaac and I have been trying to convince Anna to
I'll do.
Yeah, we've been trying over the last few years to just get a regular practice where we come to my studio and spend a Sunday and write a song, write and record a song or two, because when we've done that in the past, it's been really, really fun. And it's sort of strange garage rock. And what comes out seems to be strange garage rock. And I really think that there is a need for that, particularly among our peers, like just good smart garage rock that's not overthought. But we've been working these muscles for so long, the two of us, that the first best thoughts when we get together are already pretty interesting, I think. Sure. But don't feel overthought or overwrought, and which occasionally when I go back and listen to Shudder to Think, I'm like, oh man, you're still figuring it out. You're like really trying so hard.
I know that part.
But I mean, that's okay, because like there was a lot of beauty that came out of that too. But now those things just naturally flow.
That makes sense. And when I think about that dog, nowadays there's a lot of bands like, say, Best Coast or the Beaches, where you go, that's 1 degree or 1 generation later than that dog. So it's not like it's this dated sound where you never want to go back to it. You go, that definitely inspired a lot of future generations of music right there.
That's so nice. I hear that sometimes, and I wonder if it was part of it or if it's just a common space that we all hold. But you know what? They probably heard it.
I was just listening to a new song by Speedy Ortiz. Do you know Speedy Ortiz?
Yeah. Oh, she's actually a
very, very clearly
an outspoken fan.
I was listening to there was a new song on like the whatever NPR Song a Day pod or whatever. And she's putting out a new record in September, and it was such a good song and really had, or for me, ticked some that dog boxes.
Hey, I
think maybe she should do it for me.
Yeah, totally.
Or you could do your Santana Supernatural Duets album, where you go, oh, you write the songs, I'll just put a guitar solo on, but it's
exactly.
Well, that's part of it. I don't want to play guitar. I have like a neck injury, and I don't want. I mean, I love to play guitar, but I don't want to put it on. I'm like freaked out about it.
I get that,
because it's too much weight. But whatever.
That's real.
Well,
I mean, it's not. That's actually that's legit.
I know, but I also don't have to. I can.
That's more like legit than like how many songs.
Well, Chris.
Yeah, I shouldn't say I don't have any songs.
It's just not true. You literally, I hear
but
them.
I'm kind of giving it all to scoring right now, and I'm finding that to be challenging and interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
Because when you're scoring, they're not songs. You know,
I think I don't distinguish as much between the two realms,
because I am very.
I know exactly. It's
the
organization. Right.
Awesome, very awesome.
Yeah, very awesome.
Continuing the compliments right here. Can I throw one clickbaity question, then you'll be free for me?
Yeah.
And if it's a terrible question, just say we're done with you, Darren. We're enough here.
Okay.
So LA people with musical pedigrees right here. I wrote a book that's coming out early next year about David Lee Roth.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
What's your
That's
book? And
amazing.
You don't even know the depths of my relationship to David Lee Roth, including like I listened to his Roth Show podcast, which is insane. Have you been listening to it?
So you're one of the
Um,
10,000. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
10,000 is a lot.
Before I ask you about that, I
Especially
was
if you heard
curious,
it.
Anna, you know, without your
Yeah.
family, I don't think Van Halen would have been a household name, to say the least. I'm curious if you ever had any run-ins with Diamond Dave.
Yes, I did. I had two. And one was the phone rang and I picked it up. And is Lenny there? Yeah, who's this? It's David. And I said, it's David. He was like, oh, it's David Lee Roth. I was like, what? Or like I figured it out, like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
And then I did actually meet him. I get annoyed at myself because I did meet him. I think I was like a tween or an early teenager. So I like all the walls were up, even though they're still up. But I met him and I think he said something borderline inappropriate about
Correct.
how attractive he thought I was. And I think it was kind of like, oh, get away from him. But I don't care. And thank you, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. Come
Oh
on.
my God.
What's your book?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's exciting. That's way more exciting.
Paltrocast.